Hi everyone, and welcome to Slippery Eel Fishing. It's the first video I've ever done, so you'll have to bear with me just in case it turns out pretty poor. But as you can see, I'm in the middle of nowhere in the pitch black of night, thanks to some of my friends on Facebook. I think the choice was for me to go bashing out some roach and bream and carp, or go sea fishing. So you lot decided to put me on the place where I didn't really want to be, because we all know this time of year is pretty bad. But here we are. We're in somewhere near Southwold, near where I live in Suffolk. Today, target species probably most likely to be whiting and dogfish. Let's face it, there's not a lot around this time of year. If I'm lucky, I might get an early ray. If I'm really lucky, I might get an early sole, but we'll see. But as you can see, it is pitch black. I will get my gear set up, come back to you in a bit, and hopefully there'll be a bit of daylight and some fish on. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in a moment. Welcome back, guys. We're all set up now. It's nice and daylight now. We're getting the first part of the morning light coming through. It's a bit foggy, as you can see, so I'm hoping that'll lift today and a bit of sunshine comes out, but I think we're forecast a bit of a patchy day today with a cloud. So hopefully, anyway, we'll catch some fish. I'm not holding my breath. As I said earlier, you guys have managed to pick me a day where February is never a brilliant time for sea fishing. Obviously in the next few weeks this part of the coastline does get quite a lot of smooth hounds, plenty of rays, all thornbacks might add, but you know, the fishing definitely does pick up. So over the next few weeks, you know, I will get out more and do a bit more sea fishing and hopefully target some big hounds and see how we go. I've got a big trip planned in Wales, sort of a later end of the year, with my mate Mick and Steve, and we'll probably meet up with Wayne Hand and Mario Asperu. Both those guys you may well know of. They both sort of are sponsored, or ambassadors I should say, for Tronics Pro. And obviously Wayne has his channel himself, The Shore Hunter, and I'd highly recommend you give that a look, because it's actually really good fun. Guy goes to travel around all the country and abroad, and has fished for some amazing fish. And obviously, if you know Mario, he is the current tope record holder from the shore. I think it was about 100 pounds. He might well correct me on that, but that's some fish, I'm sure you'll agree. So anyway, let's get some more bait ups done, get myself organised, and once we've got a little bit more light and I can get some proper camera work going, I'll come back to you guys and we'll show you what I'm up to. Well, it's turning out to be really a nice morning so far. I told you a little while ago this is my first video, so like I said, you'll have to bear with me, but if I'm honest, that was a bit of a white lie. I went out a few weeks ago, some of you may well know, and I decided to go and fish one of my local freshwater joints with my pole gear, and went up to a place called Hall Farm just outside Borough Castle near Great Yarmouth. And I decided that I was going to have a little bash on the roach to start with, and then hit the other lake in the afternoon to do some carp fishing. Turned out to be an excellent day, I have to say. Probably had a good 20 pound of roach in the first 2 or 3 hours of fishing. Some of them were probably knocking 2 pounds, and I was having a right nice time filming it all, looking good. Switched over to the other lake in the afternoon and probably sacked up about 200 pound of small carp and F1s, and was having a nice time. Got home, thought great, what a lovely start to my YouTube channel, and got the video downloaded, started to do some playback on it, and all I got was a bloke miming. Unfortunately for me, I had a dodgy cable to my microphones for the full 4 hours of video that I managed to record, and had no sound, completely dead and void of me, which is really frustrating. But hopefully this one's coming out a little bit better now I've got a new cable, and you know, you guys have got something to actually watch, so that'll be nice. Anyway, we've got both rods out now. So left hand rod, I've got a dropper pulley about 4 foot, which I'll show you in a little while when I bring in and rebait. Hopefully it's going to be out there for a ray. I'm probably not holding my breath. It's a bit early maybe, and the other side to that is that this place here doesn't throw up too many. On the right hand rig I've got another dropper, but it's a 2 hook, sort of flapper on the top end and a little pulley dropper on the bottom. Hopefully catch a few flatties, you know, dabs. Oh, there you go, first bite of the session. I don't know if you saw that on camera now. So hopefully that'll go again, and then when I bring you back there'll be a fish on. Oh, there we go again. Hello, let's give that a second and I shall go and pull that in. You can keep an eye on that for me. Go on. Knowing my luck, that's probably a dogfish or a crab. But if it beats a blank, well, that's got to be a good thing. So I'm now going to go and check this one out, get some extra baits on, and I'll bring you back. Well, that bite pretty much amounted to nothing, unfortunately, but got the baits back in and we're going to chuck that back out. But I'll just run through my rigs with you. So I don't know if you can see that very clearly there, but the top hook is about 18 inches, size 1 hook with a small ragworm on and a little bit of bling. And then the bottom hook, I've got a little pulley, and that's actually about probably 2 foot. So yeah, that's designed to pin down straight on the bottom. So my bottom hook on the pulley, and then the top hook is a flapper. So that's after the small stuff. I mean, here you've got to go scratching here, to be honest with you, especially this time of year. You know, it's all well and good sticking those huge bait ups on, but to be quite honest with you, you might as well just stay at home if you're going to do that, because you're not going to catch a thing. But I'll get this one back out and hopefully we'll get another bite on that and produce a fish this time. So let's get that done now, and we'll hopefully see some more fish in a second. That's how we bring that out. I just had a little knock on the left hand rod. That's the big bait up. It did look like a tiny bite, if I'm honest. I was hoping that'd be a ray, but that would have pulled that down by now. It looks like probably a whiting or a crab. So we'll leave that one out there for a little while and hopefully get something a little bit nice on that one. So gear I'm using today, I've got a pair of Century T700s. A phenomenal rod, I've got to say. I've used these everywhere. They've been pretty much all around the country with me. Initially bought them for here because they're ideal for this sort of type of coastline where it's sandy and shingle beaches. Yeah, they've got a really nice tip on them. That's all sort of glass fibre that comes into a really powerful butt. So for casting, they're absolutely phenomenal. But I have used them, you know, in places like Wales and the Bristol Channel, rough ground, you know, and muddy ground. We've used them everywhere really, and I have to say they're just absolutely amazing bits of kit. You know, I was lucky enough to get out with my mates Mick and Steve, and met up with Wayne Hand just before Christmas last year, and we went down to a mark on the Bristol Channel and absolutely had a brilliant night. You know, we had some lovely congers, some nice rays out, you know, and yeah, we initially went out for the cod, but the other fish sort of made up for the lack of cod, and we had some brilliant lumps, to be quite honest. And you can see that video on the Shore Hunters page, so I'd definitely say to you, check that out, because that was a great session, it really was. Day before that, we'd been down on one of the reef marks by Hinckley, Not very good to start with, if I'm honest. We didn't have a busy day. Oh, right hand rod's now going. But I got a little bit bored, if I got to be honest with you, and I stuck a whole herring out on a big 5/0 hook. Just lumped it one as hard as I could, and a few minutes later I got a huge run and managed to snag myself an eel up to sort of close to 25 pound. Give me a hell of a fight through the reef, and yeah, that was a nice surprise. So that was my fish of the week, really. I'll see if I can add a picture of that to this video. That was a lovely fish, and that was a PB for me. But looks like I've got a bite on the right hand rod as well as the left hand at the minute, so it's looking promising anyway. I'm not going to hold my breath though, because the last one obviously came in with a nice fat 0. So we'll see how this one goes, and if I get anything on them, I'll bring you back. Well, the right hand rod's still tapping away a little bit. Doesn't look anything significant, I have to say, but we'll have a little look anyway and see what happens. That's good, straight in the fucking snake. Well, it looks like we're into a snag, guys. Brilliant. Not good. Plenty of cormorants out there today. Probably having more luck than I am, I would imagine. Oh, hello, we're pulling out. That's good. Probably the last set of gear I threw out there last time I was here, I'd imagine. Let's have a look. It's got a little bit of weight to it. I might actually have a small fish. It's either that or I brought half that snag in with me. No, I think we might have a fish. Yeah, just as I suspected, probably the smallest sea this year. But we haven't blanked, so thank you to the Facebook guys who've made me come sea fishing this morning rather than going catching a bag full of carp. But we'll take that and get baited back up, and hopefully there's some more fish out there to be had. So as you can see, he liked me bling. So oh yeah, he did want that. He's let that right down. So good job there, only tiny hooks. I should be able to pop that straight back out, get him back in, and he can swim off for another day. Mind you, looking out there I can see half a dozen cormorants, so he probably won't last 5 minutes if he don't go straight down. So there he is, straight out, tiny little thing. Let's get him back, let him swim away for another day. Right, let's get some more baits on. Got to say, my reel's rather grumpy this morning. I've got a couple of Marc Eales F15s on, and one of them's had a bounce in the sand this morning, so he's sounding a little bit on the grumpy side. A bit like me on a morning, I reckon. Anyway, let's chuck that bit away, get baited up, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, let's get this one all set back up again. So let's lift that rod a touch. Get that tightened up a bit. It's a bit easier to deal with when they're tight. So straighten the bait clip there, and let's get that back on there. So I'm using all the Trident tackle gear today. I've actually been using this for about a year now, and I've got to say it's brilliant stuff. Highly recommend it. And no, I'm not sponsored. You know, you find stuff that you like to use and find it reliable, so you tend to stick to it, as you guys well know. So I do like these old roto clips, so I'd never sort of let me down, quite frankly. So I'll stick to these things. And the old breakaway imps, I mean, they're pretty good bits of kit too. So alright, that's that in, and as you can see, I've just got my little pulley. Slap that on there. Bit fiddly with cold hands, but you do keep your bait nice and tight when you're giving it the beans. So we'll get this one out. Hopefully we'll find a couple more fish, tighten that up, and we're ready to rock. So I'll check the big rod in a minute. Hopefully that's been rattling a little bit, but I'll be quite honest with you, I think it's probably a small whiting again having a go at my fishy bait. So we'll get that rig in after I've lumped this out and get a new bait on that, and then I'll show you the rig that I'm using on that and go through that for you. So let's get this one out. Turned out to be a lovely day. Hopefully this mist will lift and we'll get a bit of sunshine. Now, do I lump it or do I just plop it out? Let's give it a lump this time. Might as well. See if we can put it out at some distance. Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, that'll do. Straight into the middle of a load of cormorants. So hopefully there's some fish sat where they are. This whole place is teeming with them. I'm sort of next to a bit of a bird sanctuary, so plenty of birds here. I think this place is called Ben Acre. I might be wrong, but it's a nice little place. Don't tend to get too many people here because it's a bit of a hike from the car park, to be fair. So the only issue is in summer you do get a few of the pains in there, nice little inflatable boats and dinghies and bouncing off your fishing line because they don't seem to give a monkeys whether you're here or not. So yeah, last year I lost a big smooth hound in the surf because some plum decided to get his little rubber ring and plough straight through my line and snapped it for me. But worst part of it is, as you all know, as a dog walkers, the amount of times I've had my bait eaten here is phenomenal. So hopefully kids are on half term, they're all staying indoors and looking after the kids, fingers crossed. But summertime, night venue, can't come down here during the day, that's just ridiculous. So hopefully some more fish will show. I'll catch you in a bit. Alright, get another bait up ready. I think this time we'll go for a nice smelly sardine and a bit of squid. Get that prepared for my dropper. Oh, why is it always you can't find your gear because that's miles away from where you want it? So. Alright. Nice smelly bait, they stink. Oh. Been in my fridge for a couple of days, so they should have a bit of a pungent smell to them. So if there's something out there that'll eat it though, that's the only thing. So I'm only using small hooks on the other one. It's probably a 2.0 main hook and another 2.0 little circle hook. I don't know what your thoughts are about these dongle rigs. I've given them a go a few times and not really managed much on them, to be fair. I've had loads of dogfish on them, but for the rays they don't seem to want to take it. But I went through my phase of using those, not so much luck on them, so I probably won't really bother too much with them, but I'm sure some of you guys would probably tell me that you've done quite well on them. So right, One smelly bait. Looks lovely, doesn't it? I could eat that myself. Right. Let's have a look at this left hand rod and see what's going on with that. It has been tapping a little bit, but quite frankly the bait's too big for anything tiny. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just crabs having a munch, so we'll have a little look anyway and see what we can get. Roll on the summer when the smooth hounds rock up, eh? Yeah, I don't know, that's just the lead. Might be. They're pretty good leads. They're from Sea Weights. Craig Thorne. Got to give him a look on Facebook. I tell you what, they're pretty damn good. Actually, there's a bit of weight to this. I don't know if that is my lead or not. Oh, hello. There's a little bit of a pull. Might have something. No, it's just gone light. No, that might have been the gripper. I think this one's called a nobody. Yep, definitely a nobody. Get a fresh bait up on there, get that back out as fast as we can. Get weights and see if that can attract us some flatter species, hopefully a ray. Still got my lights on, that's no good. There's daylight now, Mark. Right. Yeah, untouched. But there you go. It's not really a surprise. I'm sort of really a bit too expectant on that one, I think. I don't think that's going to happen today, but you never know. There might be one of them rogue spiny things out there so I can catch. Right, nice fresh bait. I'm just going to stick that straight in the top of there. Get plenty of elastic on it, so we'll get that to stay on. So how many of you got holidays this week? Quite a few, I'd imagine, with the kids being off. Well, they're off this part of the world anyway. No doubt my stepdaughter will be sat in her bedroom on her phone all day, doing the teenager thing like they do. But that's kids for you these days. I did try and get her out fishing once, but that weren't happening. Oh, lovely. Just squirt some blood straight on my lip. Right. Get the circle hook and whack that in the top, and we'll be good to go. I know there's been a few fish coming out sort of Felixstowe way. I'll say there have been a few good reports down there. One or two people pulling out a few thornbacks. But I know many of you around the country go, oh, it's just a thornback. But in this part of the world, guys, I have to be honest, that's the sort of thing we look forward to here, because there ain't a lot else. This time of year, this coastline is not great, you know, and we all, that's why a lot of us do travel and tend to go a few places a few miles away, just for the variety of species, really. But here, well, I'll be honest, it's a white infest, there ain't a lot else, so you sort of have to put up with that a little bit. Great if you're in a match and you're scratching and you're trying to catch as many as you can for points. You know, if you throw up a old big one here and there and that give you a good score, that's great, but I have to say it is quite disappointing coming home sometimes when you have just been to somewhere like the Bristol Channel and had a good run and spoilt yourself rotten. But that's life, I suppose. But I'm out, I'm fishing, and that's the best part of it all. So you can't beat it. A bit of wilderness, a bit of fresh air. Good for the soul, as they say. So that is my pulley dropper. I don't know if you can see that. Pulley dropper, one of Craig's sea weights. Nice big hooks in the top. So anyway, let's get this out. Fingers crossed there'll be something worth having on the end of this and very shortly. We'll see how that one goes. Hope you've been keeping an eye on that other rod for me while I've had my back turned to it. Seems pretty still. Like I said, I'm not expecting loads today. They're really small tides at the minute. I mean, this is only going to be a 2 metre tide today, so I'll be very surprised if that even come up 10 metres this way. So very little flow as well. It's not a very strong pull out there at the moment. Let's get this one out. See if we can find ourselves a nice big lump. Sounds like I've got sand in both reels. Brilliant. Don't you just hate sand? It gets everywhere. Oh, that do sound rough, that reel do. Right. That's that one in and holding nicely. Let's tighten this one up a bit. Well, it is slow, I'm sure you'll agree. Really kind of hoping something kicks off, but tide should be turning in the next hour or so, and hopefully that'll get that tide moving a little bit more and we'll get some fish. It's nice to see the cormorants are gone now. Did see a seal a little while ago. There's got to be fish out there, but as you know, that's that time of year we just get that big run of small whiting. If I find anything else I will be surprised, so let's see. Fingers crossed. Well guys, it is really quiet. Then again, I should know that because we knew that before I came today, didn't we? So at least that's nice. The weather's lovely, the sea's flat calm pretty much, and there's just me here alone. No one on the beach at all. Really peaceful. All I can hear is the birds and the sea. What more can you want? So, oh yeah, I want some fish, don't I? It's what we're here to catch. So the ragworm getting a few little knocks here and there, but nothing that's making me want to get off my box and try and pull in. And little wobbles. Occasionally the left hand rod with a bigger fish bait on does move a touch, but again I think that's just small stuff having a little chew. So that tide should be turning very soon, and hopefully that'll trigger a few more bites. It's just nice to be out though, isn't it? Can't beat that. It's a lovely mild day too. I mean, that cold snap we had a couple of weeks ago was awful. You know, I went to my local freshwater venue and frozen solid, so I just packed my bags up and come home. Got in the garden, put my gear away in the garage, come out and find a heron sat on my pond having a munch on my goldfish. Cheeky bugger. Soon shooed him off, but yeah, it's been a strange few weeks with the weather. I know that cold snap was pretty brutal. I was going into my shop at work and wiping down the condensation off my windows in the morning, and where it had cooled down a lot, and was finding ice halfway up the windows. So yeah, definitely a woolly hat day that was. I'm really hoping we can get you some action today. It isn't looking great for now. This is my first video, as I said earlier on, really was actually going to have some sound to it, which is always a bonus after my last little expedition. But you know, I will carry on doing these videos. They will get better, I promise you that much. You know, it's a bit strange for me to sit here and talk to a camera for the first time, as I'm sure some of you appreciate. You know, there's a few guys that have done it before, and it does feel a little bit awkward. But hopefully the content will get better and better. I've got a lot of places I will go to, do a lot of freshwater fishing as well. Hopefully we can actually get some matches in as well, and see if we can do some matches as well on film. And you never know, we might pick up some beer tokens and have a few wins. But that's a challenging thing at the minute. You know, so many good anglers out there these days, and you know, with YouTube videos and all the social media now, where everybody's happy to help each other and show each other new tricks and ways to fish and rigs and all of the stuff that we all sit and watch. I mean, you learn so much from them now, and the standard of fishing pretty much has got better and better. So you know, it's more difficult to win things these days, but you know, and especially when you're up against these sponsored guys, and they're phenomenal fishermen. So you know, it's nice to have a little go and see how we do. I've won a few over the years and lost a few, and stomped off in a temper and thrown my kit in the car and not spoken to no one for a day after some of my matches I've done. You know, it can be soul destroying, some of them, but you know, we'll see. But my next video will be probably on a lake somewhere, see if we can bash out a few roach and bream and plenty of carp. And yeah, it'd be nice to do that and give you guys a better video to watch with lots of fishes being caught. You know, I know some of the sea anglers on here will go, what are you talking about, mate? They're just stock ponds. But you know, if you know what you're doing on them, and you know how to catch a few fish, you know, you will catch more than most. So you know, hopefully I can show you a few tricks and tips. Sea fishing for me, I've been doing it for probably, what, I don't know, on and off for pretty much most of my life, to be honest. But Stevie Chambers, my mate, got me back into it about 5 or 6 years ago, and bought a load of gear, and we started fishing sort of down Shingle Street just near Ipswich. And you know, when I first got my first ever thornback ray, I think I had 2 the night that we went, you know, both PBs for me, as I've never caught them before. That sort of got me back hooked into it, so I blame him really for costing me so much money in gear. But you know, that's the way it is. You know, it's nice just to get out and meet new people and meet some friends. You know, and I've met a few good anglers since. You know, and we've all been out and had some trips and done the Chesil Beach thing. We've done the Bristol Channel thing. We've done Wales last year, and we're going to go back this year. And we've had some phenomenal catches. You know, and that's absolutely amazing. So hopefully we'll be back out on some of those marks I just mentioned, and we'll all be having a bit of a giggle, catching some lovely fish, and I'll be able to show you those on camera. You know, like I say, Mick, unbelievable on the bream. Like I say, we've done Chesil Beach a few times now, and we've gone down to the cove end of Chesil, and you know, you might catch as many as Mick does, but honestly, some of the lumps he pulls out, I don't know how he does it, but some of those bream at 2 and 3 pound a chuck, you know, mine are probably 8 to 10 ounces at best. You know, phenomenal fishing. And the last time we were there, the water was just thick black, full of fish. You could see it for miles. Bait fish everywhere, mackerel everywhere. There was just everything. So that's a phenomenal place. So hopefully we can get you a video from down there. As many of you probably watch Wayne Hand on the Shore Hunter videos. He does every week down there, you know, at least once or twice a week. And some of the fish he's been pulling out recently are really, really good. So, you know, we all know what Chesil can do, but there's also the other side of Chesil where I have driven down there for a day trip all the way from Great Yarmouth, and trust me, that's a long trip for a day. And then to come back where you've just caught a handful of white and is a bit soul destroying, but when it does throw up them special days, it's just phenomenal. So hopefully we'll be back doing that soon, and you know, there'll be some more sea fishing videos coming. The freshwater ones, there probably will be a few more of them, guys, until we get summer through and we start getting the runs of smooth hounds here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and we'll do lots of videos, so look out for the next coming weeks. If you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe. That's always nice to have a few people watching your films, and if you can get me to 1,000 subscribers, then every time we get to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, no doubt I will give away a prize to one of the viewers, and you know, hopefully aid you in your fishing expedition. So you know, let's see what happens. Well, this is how the day's going so far, guys. Not brilliant. I think they're just getting smaller. Isn't that a pity we don't have congers on our coastline? I'll tell you what, it'd have ended up as a nice bait, but there you go. Little white, and at least we're catching, which I can't grumble about. You know, I didn't expect to catch much more than this today anyway, but we've not gone home blanked, which is always a winner. So I'm going to pop this little chap back, have a cup of coffee, and contemplate what I do next, because I'm not sure I want to stay catching these things all day. But never mind, it's a fish. Happy days. Mwah. Give him a kiss, chuck him back, and I'll be back in a bit. I don't know what's happening, guys, today, but it is very slow. Very, very slow. But we're out. Can't argue with that. I always hate that anticipation where you're sitting there just looking at your tips and waiting for them to smash round. But if I do, that will be a bonus fish today if I get a proper bite. I don't know about you guys, but I was wondering what the cod season's been like for some of you guys further around the coast. It's been absolutely dead here. We've only seen one or two sort of coming out, but they're all small stuff. But hopefully I'll be out again in a couple of weeks. We've got a date planned, I think, with my mate Steve, to see if we can find somewhere to get some of the spring cod run. But it seems to be a hard battle to try and find any around our coastline this time. It's just died a death. I mean, I remember 25-30 years ago as a kid, I used to go out all the time and you'd catch them one a chuck like you do whiting and dogfish now, but it's not the same as it used to be, is it? Let's face it. But that's why we do those long road trips, go and find some stuff elsewhere. So hopefully the bait I've got today doesn't go to waste and we can put a few more in the bag. But that's thanks to the guys I always go down to Galston tackle. They always look after me in there. They've got a nice range of bait, and the guys there really knowledgeable, and they all know what they're doing. So you know, if you're down this neck of the woods, give the guys a shout at Galston. They'll certainly stick you on some fish, hopefully, and certainly put you some bait in the bag that you know, you're able to use, and that's good quality too. Especially around here, we do struggle to get decent bait again. So I've got to say, can't wait for the summer to kick in and get those summer species. It's been a big turnaround. I mean, like I said, 20-30 years ago, we didn't really see summer species here, or no one really bothered with it. You know, it was sort of a time of the year where you just pack your sea rods away, get your freshwater gear out, and get on the local rivers or on the lakes and have a go at that. But I have to say, the summer season's really improved. Get some really nice smooth hound runs. I've had a few off here before, not quite double figures, but you know, they give you a good scrap, as some of you'll know. You know, I did have a rod fly completely out the stand here and drag towards the water once, but yeah, that was a nice fish, about £8. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. So yeah, roll on summer. But at the moment, it's looking very barren out there. Yeah, the cormorants are gone, the seals are gone. So they're obviously following the shoals of fish that are moving further out now. The tide's pretty much rock bottom now. So hopefully in the next couple of hours the tide will pick up a little bit again, and we'll see some fish. But as we all know, February, it sucks. not a great time to come sea fishing. But I couldn't have got a nicer day for it. It's absolutely lovely at the minute. There's hardly a breath of wind. Just need the sun to come out and that'll be lovely. It's nice to get out though, dump that stress off from working and all the stresses that everybody's having at the minute with finances, and you know, and everybody I know has been sick recently. It's a lot of flus and bugs going around. I got whacked with the old COVID twice last year. That blew me off my feet. But you know, a lot of people have been suffering recently. I think stress is a big thing in a lot of people's lives right now, so this sort of stuff is just lovely. You know, you just dump your stress at the car park, you walk off with your rod, sit on the beach or a bank somewhere, and it's just lovely, and you can just forget everything that you're doing. So I'd recommend fishing to anyone, I really would, even if you don't catch nothing. I mean, just sitting here in the peace and quiet, it's just lovely. You know, I think I've seen 4 people all morning, so, and I haven't had my bait eaten by a dog yet, which is a right bonus, I've got to be honest. Mind you, there's still time. Yeah, the rod tips haven't moved since my last little whiten. But hopefully that tide will turn now and pick up a bit of current, and we'll find a few more. Yeah, lovely place here. When I shove my coffee down, I'll show you around. Have to be a bit careful here. I mean, it's really small tides at the minute, but on a bigger tide you have to be a little bit careful because you can get washed up against the bank here. So if I spin round, you'll see the banks there and a bit of cliff. So the tide does come right up to the back there on a big tide. So if you are coming down to the Ben Acre area, it's near Southwold, I would say to you, check your tides if you've not been here before. You know, the tide doesn't come in like it does on the Bristol Channel. I mean, obviously that place is just bonkers, but you know, you don't want to be caught out here trying to scramble up the bank with all your gear. It's never a good idea. But as you can see, it's a lovely place. You might be able to just about see Southwold Pier in the distance there. Great in the summer here, you know, there's plenty of fish to be had. Like I said, smooth hounds, a few sole, plenty of dabs and whiting as usual. You occasionally get the odd bass here, but we find the bass is a little bit better further around past Southwold. You know, there's a nice deep water venue that way where I've had 1 or 2 nice big bass out. And then back towards where I live, it's becoming more and more of a dead zone really. Since they put the harbour in, they built a new harbour there a few years ago now, and a lot of the sand's all built up, so you know, the water's not as deep as it used to be. I mean, on Galston Beach you can pretty much walk out 100 metres and that's only up to your blooming waist, so you know, the sort of fishing's not so good there. It's more of a nursery area, plenty of small stuff, you know, whiting and dabs. But and then the harbour itself used to be amazing for catching cod. I mean, you used to go down there in the winter and wait for the high tide, fish into the harbour itself, and that used to be stacked with full of cod years ago. But now you'll be lucky to get your gear back because they're so snaggy and rocky since the harbour, all that new area was built. You know, you might as well go and throw £10 notes in. It's that bad now, you know, and the tide just rips through. So. But yeah, later on in the year, I'm actually going to see if we can get on a bit of water called Braden Water. I haven't fished it since I was a kid. I used to pull out some massive flounders out of that place. But that does get full of mullet, and as I've sort of never caught one, I think we'll have a go down there and hopefully catch you some fish there. And then we might wobble off down to the River Bure in a couple of weeks. Do some flounder bashing. You know, when I was a kid, you could go down there in the winter with some nice little flat leads on your rigs, short hook lengths, just pop out into the flow And you know, I used to fill a bucket up full of flounders. You know, I used to get some good ones over £2 years ago. But again, I hadn't fished that since I was a kid. So you know, doing these videos now is sort of probably hopefully going to give me the opportunity to get out a bit more and have a little play and do some things that we used to do, and hopefully do some new stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you like my videos and that, please comment on them, and you know, any tips and hints you can give me, any places that might be worth a visit for me, so I can do some videos for you guys, would be great. You know, there's always people who know more than I do, and I don't take offence for someone telling me I'm doing it wrong. I'm all ears. You know, I'm here to learn, and that's what we do when we go fishing. You know, what I've learned in the last 5 years has been invaluable. I've caught more fish, different species, you know, and I've learned that from my mates like Steve and Mick, who I've mentioned already. You know, Wayne's put us on fish before, Wayne Hand, and he's told me how to do stuff. So I've changed what I do over the few years, and that's paid dividends. So yeah, you know, if you've got anything that you want to comment on, please do. You know, that's always nice to sort of get some feedback from people. I'm no expert, you know, I just love coming fishing like the rest of you guys do. But yeah, I'm always here to taking on tips and some new advice. So yeah, we're looking forward to this year. You know, different venues that I haven't fished before will be good too. So yeah, let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure by the end of the year we'll have a run of videos that'll be chocker full of fish, videos with some friends. You know, and like I said earlier, hopefully Wayne and Mario from Tronics Pro will be able to join us later on in the year in Wales. So that should be a really good trip. So hopefully we're getting there in about sort of the right sort of time to catch some blonde rays, some big eels, and hopefully a taupe. You know, I've never landed a taupe, so that'd be an interesting session. And with someone like Mario, who's obviously the record holder for the UK, you know, the guy knows what he's doing, so that'll be right fun. So really looking forward to that. And hopefully later on in the year as well, we've got things like the Maver Match This qualifiers. Probably not going to do the Fisho, but the Maver Match This one is there's a place called Decoy Lakes in Whittlesea that I love fishing. I mean, that place just fishes its head off at any time of the year really. But you know, you're up against it there, you get all the big names there, so you know, you're going to need £300 to win. So you know, it's one of those venues, but you know, you can always guarantee a brilliant session, no matter whether you take money, win a section, it doesn't matter. You know, you're always going to have a good day's fishing there. So hopefully we'll get that on film as well. So a lot to look forward to. So yeah, let's hopefully get some more fish soon, because I certainly died a death from those early bites that I had. So we'll give it a couple more hours, see how it goes, and fingers crossed we'll certainly have some fish. Always a worrying sight when you're bringing your bait in untouched though, especially the worms. You know, if anything's going to grab anything, it's going to be the worm, isn't it? So, oh well, I'm going to finish my coffee off, I think, and get the rods in, put some fresh baits on, and hopefully in the next half an hour I'll have something else to show you. Well, I've been here since about 5:30 this morning, and 2 whiting, and that's about my lot so far. So not a lot happening, I'm afraid to say, guys, but I think this time I've had a little bit of a bait change, so took the fish off now. I've gone straight for well, it was sardines I had on there, but I've now gone for a couple of sand eels and a piece of squid. Hopefully that might pick up the odd ray, but like I said before, it's not the best place for it. So hopefully something will happen, but yeah, it's looking rather quiet. You know, beach is getting a little bit busy with dog walkers now as well, so I'm on my guard for having my bait munched. But it's nice to say that a lot of people have been sensible, which is always nice, because the dogs are on the lead until they got well past me. So thank you for that, people. It's always a nice pleasure to see people doing that and have a bit of consideration, because as you all know, that don't always happen. So yeah, we'll get this bait up on, we'll give it a lump, and hopefully something will show its head. But this won't be the best of fishing videos, I'm afraid to say, guys, because it's going to be, shall we say, prolific, unfortunately. So yeah, well, that's that bait on there. We'll just get the circle hook in. So on the bottom end, I've got a Cox and Rawl Specimen Extra, probably a 3.0, and then a Specimen actually has a Cox and Rawl circle hook on the top end. Again, probably about a 2.0. It's only a small hook. I don't like fishing massive baits at this part of the world, so it's almost pointless because you're not going to score any points doing that. But as you can see, nice little bait up, so hopefully that'll work. And I've got that on a dropper pulley. So on this end, I've got one of Craig Thorne's sea weights. They do glow in the dark, those. They're absolutely phenomenal. I'm a bit of a convert to those. I've been using obviously straight normal leads for a few years now, and I have to say I've picked up the better fish on these. Whether it's got anything to do with the glow, I really don't know. I'm no scientist. I'm sure there's someone out there who might be able to tell me otherwise, but you know, I seem to pull out a better quality fish on these when the fish are in front of you. So you know, good leads. So that is now clipped into the bait clip, which is from Trident. And again, on the top end there, I don't know if we can see that, it's got a Gemini clip there, and on the top there is a pulley bead. And if I pull that down, a small swivel, so that just connects into that, and you can pull the whole lot tight, and that's your dropper. So when it hits the water, that'll pop clean out of the top of that clip, and then your bait is definitely nailed to the floor where you want it if you're trying to find those rays. A lot of people just use a straight pulley rig, which I do too. I mean, they're brilliant rigs, you know, they always work. But you know, I've found that these just seem to do better for me. You know, everybody's got their own opinion on it. But you know, when I've been away and we've been fishing off cliff faces and stuff like that, you can never really guarantee using a pulley rig at your baits on the deck. So, you know, for me, those dropper pulleys are pretty valuable rigs to me. So you know, at least you know your bait's where you want it. So yeah, let's get this one out. Hopefully there'll be something on the end of it next time I see you, albeit I'm not holding my breath. So yeah, tough day, but what can you do? It is fishing, you know, it's not about catching all the time. And you know, we've had a lovely day of it. The sea is flat calm, it's an absolutely stunning day, you know, minus a bit of sun. It is a bit overcast, but you couldn't ask for better weather than this. So hopefully something will show, and we'll hopefully be able to show you some fish. But at the moment, I hate to say it, guys, it's not looking good. So let's get this one out there, and hopefully find something on the end of it next time I pull it in. Right, let's get this bait out. Got something out there, haven't they, guys? Got to be. Just think, if I hadn't listened to you Facebook lot, I could have been lumping out loads of fish this afternoon on a lake somewhere. But there you go. Right, let's get this one out there. Yep, that one's gone. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few of you out there going, what's he casting like that for? That's a bit weird. Yeah, well, I back cast, guys. You don't want me pendulum things around the beach, you'll probably end up with a lead in your head. So yeah, unfortunately for me, I had a fall down a flight of stairs a few years ago and pulled the nerve from my spine down my left arm. So I can't grip the reel very well with my left hand when it comes to doing a normal pendulum cast. So that's my alternative method, shall I say. You know, it stops me thumb slipping on the reel, because if you don't want me swinging the lead around because someone's getting injured. So yeah, you know, you can't do stuff like that when, especially when you've got a lot of people on the beach. You know, I've seen some guys, honestly, you know, swinging leads all over the place when it's full of dog walkers, people on the beach and all sorts of stuff. You know, you've got to consider the safety of other people. You know, 6-ounce lead smacking you in the face ain't going to leave you feeling very well. So that's why I backcast. But I'm not a big guy either, so to bend these rods, you know, you need a bit of oomph into them. So that's all my body weight into it, and I go out all right. I'll get about 120 yards, I suppose, which is more than enough for where we live and pretty much most places, if I'm honest. So see, I was dreaming then. I thought I had a bite. Nah, I'm dreaming. So yeah, there ain't a lot happening. Tides turned now. There's a little bit of current, but they're not big tides at the minute. I probably should have come last week when the tides were a little bit better. But we're here. We're having a go. You never know. So thanks for watching. If I haven't said that already, I should have done. And fingers crossed, we actually do catch a few more fish. So I'm going to get this right hand rod in, get some new worms on that, and next time I speak to you, hopefully, we'll have some more fish. Well, there ain't a lot happening now, people. Really isn't, but we'll stick it out for another hour and see what happens. Tide's certainly pulling round now. So I've got one of Craig's diamond leads on here a bit, so it's dragging around the bottom, so hopefully we'll find some fish on it. Might have something on here actually, bit of weight. Didn't really bite as much, but it just sort of pulled round in the tide a little bit, so hopefully there's something on it. Come on, fishes. Yep, we got another tiny little fish and some weed. Weed. I think it's a good job I had my scratching rig on today, guys, because I don't think they can get much smaller than that. I mean, what's that? It's bait. That's what that is. That's bait. I'm sure my worm was bigger when it went on. Anyway, we're on the fish and we're catching a few, so can't really grumble, can I? Let's get him back. Something's going to snap him up as soon as I chuck him in. Anyway, let's make him swim off for another day. I was hoping for a few more fish, but it's definitely a hard session. There he goes, straight off like a rocket. So, good job I used them small hooks today. And squids and fish baits haven't done a thing at all. So hopefully we'll get some more fish in the next chuck. Hopefully a little bit bigger than the one I just had, but there you go. At least we're catching something. Could have come all this way for nothing, so count myself lucky today. Get rid of that. Let's get a fresh one. So we're on the ragworm today. Couldn't get any lugworm. It seems to be a bit scarce around my neck of the woods. So must be the tides. I'm presuming they couldn't get out and get the bait. So, on you go, me old mate. Yeah, so see this face? This is the face of apology for such a poor session and a horrible video. What can I say? We've had a go. We tried our best, and we've got plenty of baits been going on, and plenty of casting been going on, but not much to show for it. But I do promise you this: we will have more fish in many other videos. Trust me. It's just that horrible time of year where you just don't get a lot, and you just have to suck it up, don't you? What else can you do? So let's get that one clipped back up, straight in. Lovely. Pull that down nice and tight. I do like using this dropper on the bottom. It does pin the bait down well. It's just a shame there's nothing out there to eat it. So, but we'll get this one back out, and we'll all be optimistic about the next chuck. You never know, Mr. Fat Cod could come along and snuffle it all up. You know what I'm wrong there, don't you? It's not going to happen. So we'll have a go anyway. We're here, we're fishing, the weather's great, the beach is deserted, so I've got it all to myself pretty much. So, and I'm enjoying it. It's the first time I've been out in a while. So yeah, just nice to get away from work for a couple of days, spend some time with the family, and hopefully catch a few more fish. But the way things are going, it don't look good. But we'll carry on and see what happens next. Well, still really hard. Not a lot happening at all. So I've brought in me squid bait. I'm now going to pop on 3 little sand eels, scale down the bait a bit. I've got a funny feeling there's a few small bits kicking around, but nothing that you would want to write home about. But let's see if we can get a smaller bait on. A couple of sand eels. It's now sort of that time. If we're going to get a ray, now's the time. You know, the tide's turned. It's normally sort of the last couple of hours of the low and the first 2 are high here. Normally it's the best time, but as we already know, the tides are poor at the moment. They're not very big. There's not a lot of tide run at all, to be fair. I mean, I've got a rolling diamond lead on one of them, and it's just barely moved, to be quite honest. So that would be nice to have a bit more pull in the tide, but there's not a lot going on at all. So quiet here though, it's lovely. Truth be known, I almost fell asleep a little while ago on my box. Wouldn't have been a bad thing, would it? So let's get this circle hook shoved in, and then see if we can find a fish, because as I say, it's been a tough old day so far. You know, I've been here about 4 or 5 hours and just had a few whiting to show for my troubles, but we haven't blanked, and I like that. That's always a win. You know, I probably could have stayed closer to home for what I caught, to be quite honest with you, but I do like coming here because that do throw up some funny fish at times. You know, it's not a deep venue, it's quite shallow water here, it's all sand and shingle. So yeah, summer species are good, as we've already said. Do get a few sole down here in the summer. You know, there used to be some real big ones caught off Southwold. You don't tend to hear of them anymore, but you know, sort of 3-pounders used to come off there quite regular, but not really heard much about it over the last few years. Had a few slips of tiny little things the size of my hand last year. You know, you sort of hope for the bigger ones, but you know how it works, guys. It's fishing, innit? You know, you go for what's out there, and you never know, that specimen may well rock up and try and take the top off your rod. But we're here, having a go, so I'm enjoying myself today anyway. That's lovely. We'll get this one out, and I hope to show you some more fish, and I do apologise for how bad this is. It looks terrible, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. So I can hear all groaning in the background. But anyway, we'll keep plugging on. We'll have a go. If I catch something, that'd be great. If I don't, that's just as good, to be fair. No, I'm dreaming again. Yeah, I thought that rod went round, but it didn't. It just didn't. Or did it? It's got a little tap on it. No doubt it'll be one of those little pin whiting again, but we'll leave it out there. There's 2 hooks on the thing with 2 lumps of bait, so we might as well see if we can get a double up this time, eh? But I'll get this one out and then come back to you hopefully with something a bit bigger than a whiting. Yeah, I'm just going to sit on my box and pray to the big man upstairs and see if he can deliver me something a bit nice. So I shall catch you in a bit. This one's drifted round in the tide a bit here, guys, I think. I'm hoping something picked it up. That hasn't given me a real bite, so let's have a look. Feels heavy, but I just can't tell. Oh, that's white. Into a snag. Oh, he's on winner. Come on. Don't break, please don't break. This ain't looking hopeful, people. Oh, there you go. Rig gone. Oh well. So annoying actually, because that felt quite nice, that did. It looked like there was a fish on that. But there you go. But I think this might be time to call it quits. So I shall get my gear packed up and pop everything to one side and call it a day. So bit of a sour note to end on when you just lost your tackle, innit? And a bad video because you only got 3 little whiting. I promise you guys there will be something better next time, trust me.